We're back! And this time earlier than usual, so maybe I have some time to actually do these. Alright, so we left off in the middle of Soma's unrequited opening. I know. Once we're inside that castle, there will be no one else to chase us. Excuse me, Soma? What? As he said that, Soma stopped walking. What is wrong, Soma? We need to hurry and regroup with the Shinsengu. What? His sudden confession made my stomach sink. Deep down, I was hoping this was some joke, but he looked at me with no humor in his eyes. Why? Why would you?
ミキと風間との戦いを通じて思ったんです。奴らの言っていたことは間違いではない。特に風間の言っていた言葉。俺では先輩を守りきれないという指摘。あれは紛れもない事実です。
But at the end of it all, you did protect me.
違う！俺一人ではあなたを守れなかった！
He angrily slammed his fist into the bridge's handrail, shaking from the rush of guilt. His knuckles had split, causing blood to drip. However, Soma watched as his hand started to heal almost immediately.
自分でもわかるんです。羅刹になったとはいえ、元の力の差が。俺は東堂さんや三男さんほど強くはないと。事実、こんな力があっても俺は風間に歯が立たなかった。山崎さんと井上さんがいなかったら、あなたは今頃。
Soma gazed at me with eyes of woe, and he cut himself short as he spoke.
雪村先輩、あなたはもっと強い人に守られるべきです。土方副長でも斉藤さんでも原田さんでも長倉さんでも俺以外の誰かに。
He gave me no time to respond, and he slowly turned away. Mate! But my words were lost in the wind. I couldn't stop Soma from walking away.
結局、土方副長の言っていた通り、俺は怖いんだ。皆に頼まれたのに、誓ったのに、それでもあなたを守れないという裏切り。その日が また来てしまうことが。
I couldn't speak. The way he framed his admission made it so there was nothing I could do to change his mind. So while I still had him here with me, I wanted to tell him how I felt. Can we see each other again someday? If you continue down your path as a warrior, then even if this is goodbye, perhaps we can do so with the hope of meeting each other in the future. Even if he were to lie, I would have been satisfied. Because that way, I could let the memories stand with what he said, not what he left. However, Soma, with his ever-present candor, had something else in mind.
雪村先輩、どうか俺のことは忘れてください。
Ow.
確かに俺はこれからも戦い続けます。守るものがないなら恐れるものもないから。敵を切って切り続けて、あなたの知らないどこかで戦って、あなたの知らないどこかで死ぬ。ただそれだけです。
Thus was the end of my time with Kazue Soma. Not only had he had his humanity stripped from him, but his sense of purpose as well. He gazed at the path ahead of him, covered in the stains of dried blood, and vanished into darkness. Goodbye, Soma. Holy. Well... we don't get to see him die, but he goes off to die instead, and I was just like, oh. Well, next is Sakamoto Ryoma. Oh, I wonder how this is gonna go. This is gonna be interesting. Will it end? I don't know. Ah, there it is. I hear the music fading away. To here. Alright. Records of Service! Not the DLC, I said Records of Service. Time for Sakamoto. We need low romance. Let's do this. These two are very different up until the end. With choices, anyway. And we will press the button. Boop. We will get there. Go is your answer for the bad ending. So if I go with you, are you going to tell me how to reverse the effects of this serum?
もちろんだとも。可愛い娘に嘘など言うと思うかい？
Yes, I absolutely believe you would lie. He smiled warmly at me, and he reminded me of how kind and loving he had always been to me. And you would save Sakamoto-san as well, right?
お前次第だよ。
Then I guess there was nothing to debate. I hesitantly reached my hands for his so that he could guide me. Just then,
おいおい、よりによってそんな見え見えの嘘に乗るんじゃねえよ。坂本みてえな嘘つきと長いこと関わってきたんだから。
the voice, it's... Hi! Hijikata-san! Sana-san! My goodness, all of you are here!
報道さん、先ほどの言葉もう一度聞かせてもらいましょうか。
Boop. Skip. We'll get there. I think... Oh, I know where we're gonna go with this one. I don't remember what we actually picked last time! Ah yes, Yoda, the traders. Or was it Tosa? No, it's Yodo, right? Oh my god. Snow! This is not a fun battle! Hi. What should I do? Ah, find a way to escape. There's no way I can stick around here. Just as Inuit-san said, I must tell Ichikata-san about Yoda and Tosa's betrayal. My wrists were still snugly bound. There must be something I can use to cut the rope. Unfortunately, the kodachi on my hip had been taken from me, so I need to find something else. I recalled back to my Edo days when I had seen an exhibition on how to escape a tied knot. That is awfully convenient. Father said that in extreme situations, one could maneuver their own joints to escape being tied. I think I remember how he told me to do it. Who knows if it would actually work, but there's no time to find another option. I tried my best to remain quiet and I yanked on my wrists. It was no easy task to move my wrists around, but this could be my only chance at the moment. I felt the rope wedge into my wrist, practically ripping the joint out of place, and it worked. I wanted so badly to cry out in pain, but I had to suck it up, taking deep, silent breaths, and I got the rest of my hands out of the rope. That was a relief. Okay, now to find a way out. I saw the door open and peeked into the hallway. No signs of Nakaoka anywhere. Now's my chance. But which way was the entrance? I gazed around at the row of doors along the hall.
おいお前、そこで何をしゆうがで。
What Sakamoto came walking from down the hall.
おまんは殺すわけにはいかんち、中岡が言いよったはずやけんど。そんなに痛い目に遭わされたいがか。
Sakamoto grabbed me, turning me back to the room.
来い。部屋に戻るぞ。
I have absolutely no intention of going back with you to meet my father. Begging Sakamoto at this point seemed like a pointless endeavor, but I was desperate. So desperate I dropped to my hands and knees and bowed prostrate before him. Please, I beg of you, allow me to return to the Fushimi Magistrate. There's still so much for me to do. Inoue-san had entrusted me with a mission. Please. Sakamoto stared dauntingly above me, but then
誰も行くなとは言うちゃせん。
weak as nuts to skip. Actually, never mind. Did my ears just play a trick on me? I felt like his voice had regained the warmth that I had been so familiar with. He lowered his voice to speak admonishingly towards me.
それに今、伏見奉行所に戻ったところで無だよ。と。
Oops. Wait, what? Suddenly my whole world had just sunk, and my chest felt heavy. Up in flames? I quivered as I imagined the thought, and Sakamoto closed his eyes and nodded. So what happened to the Shinsengumi men? What little hope I'd held on to yawn, was crushed, and I even lacked the strength to voice my concern. So not only had Inoue-san been murdered, but I may have lost the other warriors as well.
今回の戦で薩長軍が使いよった銃は俺が撃った銃やき。俺が殺したようなもんよ。
Sakamoto's words had flooded me with all of the traumatic things I'd borne witness to this week. But I was too tired to even cry. So I'd simply hung my head in defeat, hoping that the ground would be torn asunder to swallow me whole.
これ。
Skip button. Hi, Sharon. Was it alright to trust him? I can't trust him, is your answer. Do you really think we can trust him? The only other times I'd seen Shiranui were usually in tandem with Kazuma, and usually it was deliberate to interfere with the Shinsengumi.
少なくとも俺の敵やない。今だけは俺を信じや。
If you say so.
嫌われちまったもんだな。だが俺としてもお前を連中に引き渡したくねえ事情があるんだな。
In one masterful moment, Shiranui maneuvered his gun to kill each of the Furies with only one bullet.
考える時間はない。さっさと行くぜよ。
Sakamoto yelled out to me, fiercely grabbing my hand before we ran into the main street.
鉄砲隊、あいつらを撃ち殺せ!
From the distance, I heard Nakaoka barking orders. Shortly afterwards, the echo of gunshots firing ran out from the mansion. For some reason, however, the rapid gunfire had suddenly been cut short. As we were running, my body began to give as the bullet passed through my heart. I fell to the floor.
しっかりせ! おい!
I became lightheaded, and even though Sakamoto was right next to me, his screams sounded faint. What was going on? What just happened? Sakamoto's voice almost right beside my ear. But his face, it was becoming blurry. Warm droplets fell softly on my cheeks. Only when it was too late had I realized that they were from Sakamoto-san's tears. I saw a flash of light and then total darkness. Now, how does the Arcade 11 go? Ba-ba-ba. And we get to skip again. As soon as it lets me. This Gatorade light thing, whatever I'm drinking, it's watermelon flavor and it tastes like watermelon with salt. Holy shit. Don't go is your first answer.
どうし
We've been through this. Do 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 do. It's very long. We're almost there. Stay and talk to Sakamoto, which we've seen. It's hot. Oh, Savior, shit on me. And we respond with, I can't trust him. So where does it
知ら
stop?
ぬいそいつのことを頼む新選組の奴らのところまで連れて行ってくれんろうか
Ah. Come with me, Sakamoto-san.
俺はここでこいつらを食い止めてから行く必ず追いつくき先に行って待っちょってくれ
No, I don't want to. If you're going to stay, so will I. I wanted to stay with him, but Shiranui yanked my arm and he was far stronger than me. Of course, not even my own demon powers gave me any chance to resisting, and I was taken away.
ほら行くぜ嬢ちゃん
Sakamoto-san, I'll be waiting for you, so please come back. As I screamed out, Sakamoto-san turned and grinned. winking at me before I turned back around. That was the last time I ever saw Sakamoto. Thanks to Shiranui's demon abilities, we had no difficulty jumping over the Tosa residence wall. From there, we had gotten onto the main road of Fushimi and headed straight for Osaka. Throughout the trip, I pleaded with Shiranui for us to either return back for Sakamoto or at least stop to let him catch up, all to no avail. Shiranui just pulled my hand, carrying me like I was a delivery package, until finally we made it all the way to Osaka Castle.
さてと、ここまで来ればまあ大丈夫か。坂本との約束だから、お前の仲間のところまで届けてやったぜ。あとは好きにしな。
He brought me all the way here, discarding me like trash, which greatly upset me. My heart, however, was still in Fushimi. Sakamoto-san, I'll be fine, right? He will definitely come back, won't he? Shiranui gave a small sigh. He scratched his head lightly, and his answer sounded like an adult lecturing a child.
あいつは
Oops.
命がけで中岡を止めてるんじゃねえかな。
ごめん
俺は優しい嘘なんてつけねえから正直に言うけどよ。あいつは命がけで中岡を止めてるんじゃねえかな。
What? That would mean Sakamoto-san will be... His words pierced through me like a hot dagger, and part of me wanted to deny it. Shiranui gazed at me peculiarly.
さて、俺は行くからな。アバよ。
By the time I looked up to see him leave, he had already disappeared like a blustery wind. What could I do now? Should I return to meet with the Shinsengumi? Or should I go the way I came to bring back Sakamoto-san? No, I couldn't really do either. I had already made up my mind. I need him to keep the promise he made me. I just have to wait for him here. So I anxiously awaited in Osaka for him to return. He made me a promise. He told me he'd be right behind me. So for him, I will wait. Even if I'm in a few days, or a few months, or years, or even decades, I will always wait for him. It's like the story of Hachi. Fucking kidding me. Ow. Oh no, next is the good boys, Hesuke. No, and we're starting him probably tonight and sweet school life. I'm scared. Ugh. Oh, I'm scared. on to the good boy. Records of service. Looking for Hakuoki todo. Boop. That means you're free. It must have been a real burden for you to grow up with no father. And even worse, to know he existed, but to also know that you could never try to find him. It seemed like it would have been too much for a child to bear. He had grown into a man now, able to deal much better with the cruelties of life, but as a child, Hakuoki must have been terribly lonely.
まあでも表向き死んだことになった俺にはもう仕送りなんて送られてこねえだろうし、親がくれたとかいう刀も池田屋で使い物にならなくなっちまったし、これで本当に親とのつながりは切れちまったってことだろうな。
No. So, now that you're dead, you're finally free. You've got a new life. There's nothing tying you down. So to me, I think that it means you can live your life however you like to live it.
今の俺は自由か。そんじゃ羅刹になったついでにここからは新生東堂平助の始まりってことだ。
The sadness I'd seen in his face disappeared, and indeed it was there so briefly that I soon began to think it had only been an illusion. I'd known that it wasn't really something someone could get over easily, but knowing Hakuoki, I'm sure he's strong enough to get through it. Boop. Hakuoki! I had to do something to help him. Give him medicine as an actual option. Holy shit. Here, Hakuoki, drink this. With shaking hands, I handed him the medicine Sana-san had given me. I didn't know how much good it'd do him, but it had to be better than blood.
そうだな。血を飲むよりはずっといいか。
Drink this medicine. Be careful not to choke on it, though.
ああ、分かってる。
He swallowed the medicine and coughed. I held my breath. His bloodlust didn't seem to leave him as quick as I'd hoped, which was worrying me. Even if it had only been a few minutes since he'd taken the serum, it felt like an eternity to me. Hakuoki, hang in there. Eventually, Hakuoki's breathing began to settle into a normal rhythm. Ooh, Skippy? Oi, Skippy. Alright, where does this all stop and give us the bad ending? Okay, hold on. He took off, pulling me behind through the cold, dark woods. The shouts of our pursuers echoed off the trees and seemed to come from everywhere. Neither of us knew the forest, and so we ran through it nearly blind, trusting in luck to keep us from the enemy. He squeezed my hand.
心配すんな。俺がついてるよ。
Despite our rather desperate situation, I felt myself blush. He squeezed my hand again, and I turned even redder. But all thoughts of romance disappeared when I looked up. Oh no! The forest!
まずいな。道に当たっちまったか。開けたところに出ると銃の餌食だ。
But we didn't have time to think. I could hear our crashing through the forest coming closer. What? I could hear our crashing through the forest coming closer.
俺が先に出て盾になる。2、3発受ける覚悟で道を横切って反対側の森に飛び込むぞ。銃の傷ならすぐに治るし大丈夫だって。それに悩んでる暇はねえ。行くぞ。
The trees ended and he ran onto the road a few steps ahead of me. A line of Imperial riflemen waited for him. The air exploded with gunfire. Hesuke!
大丈夫だってこの程度。あれ
Ore? Ore? He wasn't healing as fast as he usually did. No, he wasn't healing at all. What's going on? But we didn't get a chance to try and learn why.
傷が治ろうと治るまいとどっちでもいいか。ここでこいつらを全滅させなきゃならねえことには変わりねえもんな。
Heisuke ran headfirst into the hellish storm of bullets. With a monstrous display of swordsmanship, he slayed the soldiers one by one. By the end, he was drenched in their blood.
いい匂いだな。
Heisuke, what?
甘くて濃くて日本一の酒でもこんな香りはしねえだろうな。
Heisuke? Something was off. I called out for him, but Heisuke had been such distance from me that he couldn't hear my voice.
そっちにもまだ隠れてるんだろう。お前らの血も俺によこせよ。温かくて甘い血をさ。
Heisuke, no! I couldn't bear it anymore and I ran up to him. Then more bullets came suddenly raining down. A shower of bullets came one after the other, and they tore through the flesh of our bodies. And finally I heard one last crack of the gunshot ringing in my ears. A huge force had torn through where my heart was, the hole dripping with blood from my chest. All of a sudden I couldn't see the back of Heisuke, and my consciousness started slipping. Bad end, bad end. Record of service. Heisuke. skip button. Let me skippy. So that means you're free. And we've been through this. Also, I was wrong about one of the options from Edo Blossom. It's not the last time we're seeing a certain option. So officially, hopefully, for the very last time, absolutely, because there's no other Furies on this list that we have left to do. For the very last time, we are going to make him endure it. For the very, very last time, we're making him endure it. He said he didn't want to drink blood. That's what he told me. If that's what Heisuke wants, then I must do my best to honor it.
大丈夫だって心配いらねえから
Heisuke was smiling, but I could see the cold sweat dripping from down his forehead. He'd never gotten like this before, and even during the days of his training sessions, he kept his composure well.
あのさ少しの間向こうに行っててくれるかこんな情けねえ姿お前に見られたくねえからさ
Heisuke. I was too concerned to leave his side, but even then... Please let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I walked away from him, hanging out a little distance away, but I kept him in view. I could hear his suffering from where I stood, and it filled me with sadness. Heisuke! Heisuke!
大丈夫だ俺はこんなことに負けやしないから
I bit my lip. Time passed, and I prayed for his bloodlust to pass. All I could do was pray for his safety. Skippy button. Oh boy. A second volley of gunfire rattled through the air. Heisuke pulled me through the woods as the voices of our pursuers echoed behind us.
いいか何があっても絶対に手を離すんじゃねえぞ
I know. Just as the words escaped from my mouth, we'd heard more gunshots coming from the direction towards which we'd been running.
くそ向こうには敵が嫌がるのかじゃああっちの方向に
As we turned towards another path, more gunshots rang from that direction as well. Heisuke, are we?
囲まれてるみてえだな
Heisuke crouched dead silent, and he carefully scanned the vicinity around him.
あそこだけ囲みが薄いみてえだ。人の気配があんまりしねえ。
You can tell?
羅刹になってから読めが聞くようになったからな。ひとまず俺があそこにいる兵を切って突破するから、合図したらお前も後に続いてくれ。
Got it. Heisuke stared intently at a nearby soldier, and he waited for the perfect moment to strike. Then, he ran swiftly through the thick grass, and he charged towards the enemy soldiers. With 2 quick slashes, he had killed the men before they could even flinch. Just then,
幕兵の生き残りだ。撃て！
the soldiers, all of whom were dressed in Western uniforms, fired their guns towards Heisuke.
へ、銃なんてこの俺に効くわけねえじゃねえか。あれ？
Not the Are again! Heisuke glanced down at his body, and his expression instantly became incredulous. What was going on? Since he's a fury, the wounds from the bullets should have healed almost immediately, but Heisuke seemed surprised at first to see the bullet holes remain on his body.
この弾に何か仕掛けがしてあるのか。まあいいや。体から血が完全に失せちまう前に、お前らを全滅させるのなんて簡単なことだからな。
Heisuke leapt from the grass and hid behind the trees, dodged the bullets, and killed the enemy warriors one by one. Every time he killed a soldier, it was followed by the splatter of blood and a retching scream. Heisuke was almost completely drenched, coated in blood, the thick liquid slowly dripping from his person.
お前は先に大阪城へ行ってろ。こいつらは俺が何とかする。
But I can't leave you behind, Heisuke.
お前がいると戦いにくいんだよ。それに。
Besides what?
いいから行け。俺もこいつらを片付けたらすぐに追いかけるから。
I wasn't sure if it was okay for me to leave without Heisuke beside me, but his demeanor pushed me to go on, and I turned to run towards the direction of Osaka Castle. He should be fine, right? I mean, Heisuke is a fury now. It's not like he could be easily killed. Surely he'll catch up with me soon. I somehow managed to get to Osaka Castle. But despite how long I'd waited, Heisuke never caught up to me.
まだ起きてるか。
Nobukura, Harada.
明日江戸行きの船が出るらしいぜ。お前はどうするんだ。俺たちと一緒に来るか、それとも。
By the time I'd arrived to Osaka Castle, the Supreme Commander, Lord Yoshinobu, had left, and the Shinsengumi had made the decision to return to Edo as well. Is there any way for us to wait? Yawning. Is there any way for us to wait, even if just a little longer? Heisuke might still arrive.
そういや、無理だな。お前の気持ちはわかるが、今に至るまで何の頼りもねえんだ。あいつはもう。
It's hard to know who will come back from war and who won't. Me, though, I thought I'd be prepared for this. But I never thought for a second that I wouldn't ever see Heisuke after he turned into a fury.
くそ、平助の野郎。どうしてこんなに早く死んじまうんだよ。これじゃ何のために羅刹になったのかわからねえじゃねえか。
Nagakura tightly balled his hand into a fist, and he punched the ground out of frustration. I felt the same way. He became a fury after overcoming so many, after a near-fatal wound. Only 2 months had passed since Abura no Koji. I wiped the tears that were beginning to trickle down my cheek.
ありがとな。平助のために泣いてくれて。
Harada's words made Heisuke's death definitive. I crumbled to the floor and cried. The next day, I gotten onto the ship with the men of the Shinsengumi, and together we left Osaka Bay to head towards Edo. During the recent battle of Toba Fushimi, Yamazaki-san was gravely wounded, passing away in the ship. We'd perform a burial by the sea. Heisuke left nobody behind, so we weren't able to hold a memorial service for him. Even so, I don't think I could ever forget about Heisuke. I was sure the other captains had the same feeling as me too. As the wave crashed against the shore, I thought back to what he said to me as I left him there in the tall grass.
お前がいると戦いにくいんだよ。それに
I have a feeling about what he would have wanted to tell me. I don't want you to see me like this. Hopefully, I was able to honor his wishes. But even if it wasn't something Heisuke wanted, I should have stayed back then. I wanted to. Heisuke, we're almost arriving at Edo. The Edo you loved. The night wind was cool with the scent of the sea, as if offering an answer from a distant place. Heisuke! A good boy. Hi, Mage. Oh boy. I mean, I don't really have notifications, but I mean, if you just want to get over there and chat, that's also fine. Ah! I beat you by 1 second, midget? Aha! I was typing on my keyboard that's slightly away from me. Next we have Saito, and I don't remember if I did his or not. Which means, hey brain, be careful. Don't skip it like you do with Hijikata. I might skip it like I did with Hijikata. We're gonna see, witness this shit. Alright. Records of service. Saito Hajime. Hello. Yep. Bad ending first. Skip. Oh, Rush Duel is coming to Duel Links! Oh boy! How the hell would that work? Duel Links is a completely different playing field compared to Rush Duel. Oh, that's gonna be an adventure. That's gonna be an adventure. Gunfire. Oh shit. I have done these before. Alright. You could win, Saito-san. I believe in you. You can beat him. Amagiri was powerful in his demon form, but Saito-san had never been one to fight battles he knew he couldn't win. Perhaps that was why he'd won every battle he had ever fought. As I watched, Saito-san's expression turned grim and he froze in place. Saito-san? Why did... That's an error. That says Saito, but not, Chizuru. I was about to ask him what he was doing when...
君には分かっているようですね。これ以上戦いを、それは誇ってもいいことですよ。これ以上戦いを続けても、私の優位は揺るがない。それは誇ってもいいことですよ。人としては群を抜く権威の持ち主だからこそ。
There was a tinge of satisfaction to Amagiri's voice as he lowered his hands from their fighting stance. Who are you guys?
我々が鬼の一族だということは以前お伝えしたはずですが。
Oh. Ah ha ha! Shit, hello. Yo, guess what? It has come to my attention that if you can hear me doing this, the A button has finally broken itself. It has broken! The Rock Candy controller's A button has become broken. Therefore, I'm now clicking shit.
鬼の起源についてはどこまでご存知ですか?
To which case, which means I don't know the controls. I'm pressing all the buttons. Let's see what the fuck happens.
各地に散り散りになった鬼の力を一つにまとめ、この日の本を再び鬼の手に取り戻そうとしているのです。
We may have encountered a problem. Can I not? Hi. I'm trying to figure it out. That's not what I wanted. Oh boy. Why have we come to this? Why has it have come to this? Hold on. Oh, it's probably not. Oh. It's not registering. It'll register my mouses, but it's not registering because it's in controller mode, which means I have to restart. Well then. Give me a moment. We'll be right back after technical difficulties appear. Alright. Boop. Technical difficulties has been the theme of these streams for the past a week. Yeah, week? Yeah, week. Always the technical difficulties. Skippy. Now, I would like to know the controls. Give me my buttons. Alright. The quick load is a key. So, let's do this again. Now you get to hear the clicks, probably, and that's the whole point that I wanted to do with the controller. But now I gotta go get a new controller! Because I'm not quite sure I can find parts for this thing. And you know, I was at Walmart the other day, and I'm like, I was looking at the controller, and I'm like, I could get one. Or I could fix my 360 Rock Candy controller, you know, whichever one comes first. There was some pretty controllers that I saw there. Skipping! We're getting there. It is taking its sweet, sweet time. Yuku Insaito! We've done this.
これ以上人と我鬼の起源について人間たちがこの日の元に
Yep, we've been through this. In which case, we need the next one. Actually, come here. We're saving. Because the answer's the same for the unrequited love ending. Fire! Oh, wait. Wait.
女鬼が助け舟を出してくれているぞ。素直。
No, we're fine. I need the next. I need the next. I need the next. I need the next. I don't want to see someone be cut off, damn it! I will go with Cosmo. No. There was no way I could allow Saito-san to become a fury, giving up his humanity just so he could protect me. Cosmo, I will go with you, so please.
つまりこの俺の妻とな終生尽くすとそういうのだな。
Yes, if you promise to keep your promise.
安心しろ。鬼は一度交わした約束は破らん。
Cosmo was making his victorious declaration. Just then,
そこまで俺や新選組の皆が信じられんというのか、雪村。
Saito's not about trust. It's not like that. But if you keep this up, you will really die, Saito-san.
どれだけ賞賛が薄かろうと、あんたを守れという命を受けている以上、俺はたとえ死ぬことになったとしてもあんたを守り抜く。
Saito popped the lid off the bottle and he gulped the contents of the bottle. Saito-san, no! I screamed so desperately it strained my throat. The next instant, the scars all over Saito-san's whole body began to regenerate. Oh god, Mage, no! No, don't attack my brain like that, Mage! Mage, no! And then, there stood a Fury, his hair shimmering white. He seemed surprised by the sudden changes on his body, but just seeing his cuts and gashes to heal, he was renewed with a confident energy.
まがいものの鬼となってでもこの俺に立ち向かおうとするか。貴様には何の誇りもないのだな。浅ましいものよ。
Saito-san's expression didn't change. With a slow hand, he wiped the dried blood from his face, and when he spoke, his voice was quiet and calm.
何とでも言え。これが俺にとっての誇りの形だ。新選組が彼女を守ると決めたなら、たとえ羅刹となってでも守り抜いてみせる。
He lifted his sword to a fighting stance. That sort of attitude was just what I would have expected from Saito-san, but for him to become a fury simply because the Shinsengumi had ordered him to protect me was horrible. Well, you turned him into a monster.
これはいい。貴様は新選組のためなら人としての生すら捨てるつもりか。己の意志も考えも持ち合わせぬただの犬だな。
God damn it, Mage. Philosophical ideas I need to figure out. Yeah, well, are you dragging the rest of us with you on that trip?
犬で構わん。己が正しいと信じた者に命を捧げられれば本望だ。
正しいと信じたもん。落ち目の幕府と共に消えゆく時代錯誤の老子集団がか。
なんだと。
Saito-san threw himself towards Kazuma in the same breath, his words almost a snarl. The demon deflected his attack with ease and smiled back.
何度でも言ってやろう。幕府はすでに消え失せ、貴様ら残党もこの戦で滅び去る運命。落ち水を飲み羅刹となったところで貴様の持つ刀にはもう何の意味もない。意地だの誇りだのとわけのわからん世まいごとを抜かす武士とやらの時代は終わったのだ。
黙れ。
He struck again and again, and it seemed that had closed the gap between them at least somewhat. Bit by bit, Saito-san's well-aimed blows drove Kazuma back. The tension between them was almost palpable, like the air before a thunderstorm. From time to time, Kazuma landed a blow of his own on Saito-san, but those wounds closed almost immediately thanks to his new fury blood.
貴様がまがい物の鬼になり果てるとは思わなかったが、せめてこの程度には力が拮抗していなくては遊びがいがない。そろそろ本気を出すとするか。まがい物の犬、覚悟はいい。
Before he could finish his sentence, Kazuma had already begun charging at Saito-san at light speed. Are we? Okay, Mitch. Oh god. Even transformed, it seemed as though Saito-san could barely keep up with the weight of Kazuma's swings. It was clear who was stronger between the two. Saito-san was gasping for air, while Kazuma had hardly looked to break a sweat. Eventually, Saito-san's sword in his left hand was hid away into the dirt, more than arm's length away.
哀れなものだな。落ち水に手を出してもこの程度の力しか得られぬとは。だが今すら手加減などせんぞ。我が妻にこの俺の真の力を見せねばならぬのだから。
Then the sword in Kazua's hand was slashing straight for Saito-san's head. No, at this rate. Before I could even think about it, my body moved.
Yukimura!
Saito-san's shout pinged in my ear. Yet, as I regathered myself, I could feel something snap inside of me. Eventually, my arms and legs felt weak all of a sudden, and I collapsed to the ground.
バカな。誇り高き鬼の一族がこんなゴミのような男をかばって命を落とすとは。
雪村、しっかりしろ。何故俺などをかばった。
Wow, Saito-san's hands were cold to the touch, and I could feel them tremble upon my shoulders. He seemed so upset that someone he was sworn to protect had now returned a favor to him. But it's fine like this too, Saito-san. If I hadn't been there in the first place, then the Shinsengumi would have never been targeted by Kazuma and his men. I can't be with you guys anymore, but please, for me, continue down the path that matters to you most. Let's do the unrequited love and leave it there and maybe see if I can go and buy a new controller real quick today. Cause I kinda need the A button to work. Continuing on. We skip. Fire! Why must things be? Kazuma is not merciless. I will stop Saito-san. Right? Yes. You don't need that serum! Even without the water of life, Saito-san, you are very strong.
俺の剣技に芯を置いてくれているのはありがたいが、今この男に勝利する方法は他にはない。
Saito-san popped. Okay. Hold on. Skip. As for one, I can take a guess. Okay.
貴様が曲がせめて
雪村、ここは俺に任せて、あんたは先に大坂城へ行っていろ。
But
あんたがいると思うように戦え。いいから行け。
it was true that if I were here, there's nothing I could really do to be of assistance. I understand. But please, promise me one thing. You will defeat Kazuma, and that you'll follow me back soon.
できぬ約束はしないたちだ。
The fact he wasn't exactly confident in his answer must mean Saito-san was predicting this battle to be one he may not walk away from. But if Saito-san ends up losing...
さっさと行け。あんたがここに留まったままでは、俺が時間稼ぎをする意味がなくなる。
It wasn't that I wasn't worried for him, but I can't let his sacrifice go to waste. I turned around to through the darkened. I turned around to the darkened forest pathway. The shadows of trees covering my way.
女鬼を先に逃がして時間稼ぎか。なかなか小尺な真似をする。
それが分かっていたのに見逃したのは何故だ。
なぜかだと決まっている。貴様一人片付けて我が妻を追うなど造作もないことだから。ついでにその首を我が妻への手土産としてやることとしよ
Kazuma, do you even know what a wedding present is? Because that is the worst thing. Ugh. I still don't see why people like Kazuma. I am waiting for people to explain this to me. Why y'all like Kazuma?
この俺がおとなしく首を取らせると思うか
Besides, you know, a villain.
思わぬな。だからこそ殺しがいがあるというものだ。それでは始めるぞ。覚悟はいい。
Despite my exhaustion from running, I thrusted each leg forward, one after the other, against the mountain winds upon the darkened path. Even though I longed to be back there, beside Saito-san, I knew I couldn't stop even if I wanted to. I took no chances to look behind me, I just ran. Then, out of nowhere, I heard a rustle from the bush to my right, and I stopped running in my tracks. What could it be? Was it one of the Sacho troops? Or could it be one of Kazuma's demon cohorts? I held my breath in my chest.
そこに誰かいるだろう足音が聞こえたぞ
Yamazaki! That voice. Yamazaki-san, it's me, Yukimura. You're alive!
雪村君無事だったのか
The sense of relief felt by the presence of Yamazaki-san nearly made me crumble to the floor.
斉藤さんの姿が見当たらんようだがもしや合流できなかったのか
No. We were running together, and Kazuma found us. Sato-san stayed behind so that I could escape.
何
Yamazaki-san fell silent, and for a moment we stood quietly as he gazed into the distance I ran from. Don't you dare!
斉藤さんや風間がいるのはあちらの方角だな
Why do you ask? Yamazaki-san, don't tell me you're... I had a bad feeling rising hotly in my chest.
この道を向こうの方角に辿っていけば大坂城に着く
No! Don't you... Oh, Yamazaki, please.
君は先に大坂城へ向かっていてくれ我々もすぐに追いつく
What do you mean by we? Don't tell me you're going to leave and help Saito-san.
俺などでは助けにならんかもしれんがだからといって一人で戦っている斉藤さんを見殺しにすることなどできまい
Yamazaki-san! Without another word, he turned his back to me and he sprinted down the mountain path. What should I do now? Not only was Saito-san risking his life, but now Yamazaki-san as well. I wanted to run after him to help Saito-san too, but I couldn't distract myself. I gritted my teeth and stayed behind. Saito-san has stayed behind just to give me a chance to escape from Kazuma. So I need to hurry back to Osaka Castle as soon as possible. And I must spread the word of what just happened. Although it made me almost sick to my stomach, I continued down the path to Osaka Castle. I somehow managed to make my way through the forest safely to Osaka Castle in order to meet with the captains, but...
斉藤はやっぱり追いついてこねえか風間相手じゃさすがのあいつも分が悪かったってとこかな
バカ野郎縁起でもねえこと言うんじゃねえよあの斉藤が落ち水まで飲んで挑んだんだぜ負けるはずねえだろうが
Ijikata-san seemed to keep an optimistic expression, but even he couldn't help but sigh at the prospect.
土方君もうすぐ船が出ます
そろそろ踏ん切りをつけた方がいいのでは。
分かってる。今の今まで姿を見せねえってことはそういうことだよな。
Hearing Hijikata-san say what all of us were thinking aloud made my heart feel heavy. Maybe I shouldn't have left Saito-san alone back there. I shouldn't have left his side. Just then the sliding door flew open. The person walking through the doorway was...
サイト、お前生きてたのかよ。
あ、
よかった。はじめくんがそう簡単に死ぬわけねえもんな。
副長、合流が遅くなってしまい申し訳ございません。
いや、お前の無事な姿を見られただけで十分だ。で、風間の野郎はどうなったんだ？お前がここにいるってことは仕留めたのか？
その件に関することでご相談があります。
分かった。
Whoops.
他の奴らは出発の支度をしててくれ。話が終わったら呼ぶからよ。
おう、そんじゃまた後でな。
I was packing my things in the room I had slept in the previous night. Just then,
ここにいたのか。
Saito-san!
江戸に戻る前にあんたに伝えなくてはならないことがある。いいか？
What is it? I was nervous.
先ほど副長にもご相談したのだが、あんたはもう我々に関わらぬ方がいい。
What? A black malaise had enshrouded my mind when those words came from his mouth. Each beat of my pounding heart was quaking, loose and unsure of how to process what he'd said. What do you mean?
あんたが我々のもとに身を寄せていたのはあくまでも行動さん探しのためだが、先日の天霧の話によると行動さんは風間たちに協力している疑いが濃厚とのこと。敵に協力しているとなれば我々は行動さんを切らねばならん。父を切ろうとしている我々と行動を共にするのはあんたにとっても辛かろう。
I could see this was an obvious decision for the Shinsengumi to make. I mean, more than anything, I knew that being with the Shinsengumi kept the demons coming after me. So perhaps it would be best for me to separate from them as soon as possible.
江戸に頼れそうな親戚や知人などはいるのか？もしつてがないというのであれば、副長にご相談すれば世話をしてくださるはずだ。
No. I could feel my throat constricting. Breathing became difficult and my head spun. I tried to make as deep of a breath as I could, and I pretended to answer coolly back to him. You don't have to go through all that effort for me. I heard Matsumoto-sensei may be returning to Edo as well, so I should be fine. My whole body was shaking. I stared aside the sun's deep, dark blue eyes. His irises glowed from the lantern beside us, and he looked longingly into mine in response. He closed his eyelids slowly, looking down.
そうか。
As soon as those words spilled from his mouth, I braced myself for what I'd expected to be a painfully definitive end. I looked down before asking him a question. May I ask one more thing of you?
なんだ？
What happened to Yamazaki-san after he'd gotten to where you were? For a moment, Saito-san hesitated to answer. A flash of remorse slapped across his face, and he silently shook his head. I could only muster a solitary tear as he gave me his wordless response. I knew I should have followed after him. The regrets that compiled throughout the evening were now starting to eat at me. But I had no reason to feel regretful. At this point, all I could do was leave the Shinsengumi as soon as possible. And pray that they could battle with a clear head now that I would no longer be there. Listen, tomorrow we're finishing with Harada Yamazaki and see if we end up 100%ing this game. Because I know there are 2 achievements that I have not unlocked, and I'm not quite sure how the fuck I get those. But other than that, we'll be done with this research that has started since March. How? Oh god. And then I'll come back with random stuff. Alright? For like the next month. Probably mostly editing. Because now I gotta write 3 scripts. That's gonna be fun. I'll get to record stuff and then edit it all together. And also a lot of drawing. Oh my god. I think after I get one of them done, I'm gonna switch to Tales of Fates so we can work on that all the way through, because that needs to be done. And then we'll come back for the Hakuoki stuff. That is my plan. That's what we're gonna do. But first, we're gonna get through Harada Yamazaki's buttons. But that'll be for tomorrow, because I don't want to see Yamazaki's buttons. Considering his best boy, I'm not ready for it. I wasn't ready for this either. So I'll see you tonight, I suppose. I gotta figure out the keyboard controls for Donut so we can play SSL, cause that A button ain't working. So please, drink water, have a good day or night. Don't die because you didn't drink water, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.